Hey everybody, welcome to the First Issue Club. What's the First Issue Club, you might be asking? Well, it's a club where we talk about first issues. Come on. Give yourself some credit. You can figure it out with the context clues. We love to read comic books. Therefore, just like Sue Storm, we love a good read. That's the tagline of this here podcast that I'm welcoming you to, wherein we're going to talk about some of those first issues today. I've read 2 of them. How about that? 2 whole comic books ready to discuss for your enjoyment, and maybe they'll sound intriguing to you, and maybe you'll dive in and be treated to a whole new world of wonder. Need some escapism? First Issue Club's got you, and so do comic books. Your true friend, always waiting in the wings at a local comic shop near you. Walk in at any given week, put down less than $5, and be whisked away to a new world of pure imagination. Merry Christmas week.
I was on board until you said less than $5.
You don't think so? Let me look at the prices on the books I picked up this week.
Okay, yeah, please do.
$3.99.
Okay, yeah.
$4.99. So not after tax.
Look at you. You showed me.
Just under the wire there.
Yeah.
The voice you're hearing is...
Oh, yeah, I'm Vargas.
And I'm Mike D. We
Mike.
normally have another host, Greg. He's not here. He's traveling for Xmas. And because it's the holiday week, we'll probably keep this one short and sweet.
Sure. Yeah. We do have... I'll hit you with some comic book news.
I would love that.
Since I mean, we're doing a whole episode. We might as well do a whole episode. You know what I mean? Like,
please.
If we do it, we'll do it.
Well, yeah, let's get the thing done. But I'll say, before we get into any comic book news, can I say?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sipping on a Space Camper Cosmic IPA from Boulevard Brewing Company, the best beer in the galaxy. If you love an IPA, there's tons of great varietals of this beer. It's making my buzz possible today, and Boulevard Brewing Company is making this podcast possible by sponsoring it. So thank you to Space Camper for being the official beer and IPA of the First Issue Club.
That's the nicest way to put it. We allow them to be the official beer of First Issue Club.
They came begging, please, First Issue Club. We need nerds.
They paid handsomely for the privilege of being... Oh, Lord. Oh, yes. Thank you, Boulevard. We love you and appreciate you.
Yes.
Comic book news. This might be a little stale, but Tynion officially confirmed that he's got 2 adaptations in the works at
no
Netflix.
Kidding. Okay.
One is The Woods.
Oh, awesome. Okay, cool.
Yep. And I forgot what the other one was. The Woods was great.
I think The Woods was the first or second thing I remember reading from him.
That was his first indie book, his first creator-owned book. Yeah.
Okay. I read Memetic early on and really enjoyed that, but I think The Woods might have come out before that. It's about a school full of kids, and the entire school kind of gets like transported to some alternate reality wherein there are like spooky demons beyond like the tree line. Yep. And they're trying to decide, do we stay in this school forever and wait for things to get back to normal? Do we venture out into this like undiscovered world? And then, drama unfolds and things get crazy from there. But really, really great comic. I'll have to peek at which issues I have and what kind of condition I have them in.
They're
It's
all in
always
9/8, Mike.
always good news as a comic book collector when you hear
That's right.
something is turning into a show, especially a cartoon. I feel like
Mhm.
these are the ones that have like really broad appeal for some reason, even if they're cartoons for adults. It just like seems to reach a broader audience.
Yeah, and these
The
are both aimed at adults. World Tree was the other one that's getting an adaptation.
so and World Tree is one that I think, yeah, like has to be some kind of stylistic animation because it's so dark that I think it's hard to get away with real people. That they're
Yeah.
like, I don't know how to say this. A lot of times it's common in anime action movies for there to be like mass casualties of a certain type, and for you to be like, wow, this is some crazy like sci-fi dystopian future like craziness. But if you do the same thing with real people, it all of a sudden becomes very like trigger warning eve, like feels in poor taste. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like World Tree is a thing that really works as a comic book.
Yeah.
And it's hard to imagine it like in motion or in any kind of reality, but I think it makes sense that they said, yeah, let's do this one animated because it's just like I think that's just too tough to do some of the graphic depiction of it with actual people.
Yeah.
Mm,
And I
It
imagine,
miss me with that. It'd be hard to watch.
yeah. I imagine that they'll do it probably in the style of like the cyberpunk edge runners,
Yeah,
where it's
right.
like really stylized anime kind of.
Totally.
Yeah.
It could be
Um
tonally very similar, I think.
but I think the woods would work almost better and in traditional animation, or
Oh,
at
for
least
sure.
in a style that way.
Well, you know what? I almost wonder like, is it if they did it live action, our people are like, this is too close to Stranger Things.
Well, they already confirmed that it's animated, but
Well, I know, but like,
oh,
do you think that went into the decision to go animated with it?
I'm sure they looked at the uh what's the reception that Paper
Uh-huh.
Girls got, and
Oh,
probably said, yeah, let's not do that.
yeah,
because
right.
I think people saw Paper Girls and were like, oh, this is just a Stranger Things ripoff.
Yeah, right. Totally. It being 80s too,
Yeah.
like really set it on an unfortunate trajectory.
Yep.
Especially like I think they didn't do it any favors with some of the special effects. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not one of those people who's like hoity-toity about like special effects. It's just like, oh, the plot and the actors were unbelievable, but the but like the special effects like ruined it for like if there's you can't let like expensive animation instead of like uber expensive animation like ruin something for you like that. But
Right. Right.
I think like maybe the expectation has become after a Stranger Things is that anything on streamers is going to look like that high quality and prestige.
Yeah.
And sometimes people see a trailer or something and immediately write something off because of that.
Totally.
But I would rather more stuff with slightly lower quality special effects than one thing with high quality special effects.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We call that the Hellboy the Crooked Man effect.
That's right. Red Sonja too.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Any other news, or did we hit all the points on that one in particular?
Yeah, that was the top of the list. Seemed to be the big stuff.
I know there's a new Sentry. Marvel announced a new Sentry comic in March. It's gonna
Hell
be a
yeah.
it's gonna be a mini series, but we haven't seen much from the Sentry since um what's his butt took him out in um the Venom story, right? Sentry kind of comes down to save the day versus Null,
Oh, that's
and
right. Yeah,
Null clobbers Sentry.
that's right.
If I'm remembering that right. So, um,
Yeah,
Paul Jenkins, who like
yeah,
co-created the Sentry, I think, right, is back at Marvel, and it's probably been like 10 years since Paul Jenkins was doing anything at Marvel. So
cool.
I'll check it out. I'll pre-order it.
I I love the Sentry as a character, and
Yeah.
all of the mini series that the Sentry has been in have been really good. That last
Yep.
one that Jeff Lemire did was incredible.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what he does, especially if they continue um that last the premise of the last one where the Sentry's powers got distributed amongst those like
Several
5
people.
people. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be very
Yep.
cool. So
Yeah. Love it. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. Um, there's the Brainiac casting has
yes.
been
Uh-huh.
kind of discussed or released uh, more broadly. I don't know that I have anything else to say about that. Lars Eidinger is the actor's name,
Sure.
who I'm not very familiar with, but I don't know. It's happening. It's more real now.
That's right.
We're excited about that. So
Uh-huh.
another DCU alum, which is exciting to see.
Avengers
And then
Doomsday is a year away.
only a year.
Only a year.
It's crazy. It's we're just starting to get the trailers that I haven't seen yet, but
Uh-huh.
playing before Avatar, Fire and Ice. Um, the what I've heard anyway is that over the next handful of weeks, they're going to change the trailer um, ahead of Avatar, Fire and Ice. Is it called Fire and Ice? What is it called? Fire
Ash. Fire and Ash.
Fire and Ash. But I think I heard they're going to change the trailer before it to try to get people to go back and see Avatar multiple times so you can piece together all of these Marvel trailers. Which may have worked in the Endgame era. I could see people being like, I gotta go to see the Endgame, but I don't know that there's the same fervor for it at this point that like you would buy like
Certainly nobody's like, I'm gonna go see Avatar 3 4 times
for to
to go
see all
see
the
all the
trailers.
trailers.
To
Yeah.
try to catch them all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and those Avatar movies are pretty long, typically, right? So you got to set
Yeah.
aside
And
like
bad.
half a day. But I've already been getting a lot of like spoilers on the trailers through like normal news feeds, just like right in the headlines. And I guess
Sure.
there's part of it that it's like if it's in the trailer, like it's not really a spoiler. It's part of like the sales pitch on the movie. But
Yeah.
I would have liked to have watched the trailer at least and have that stuff be like a moment of discovery for myself. It's a little bit of
Yeah.
a drag that I just had to like see it in headlines and know like, oh, that's the fun part of the trailer.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
which I won't discuss here for anybody who's happened to avoid it. But I don't know. Your time is dwindling on avoiding it. It sounds
Very
fun
true.
though. It's kind of I mean, obviously with like all of the Robert Downey Jr. stuff, like you kind of have to ask, like, one, was this like part of the plan all along, or did they say, oh shit, this next phase of Marvel isn't working and we need to like revert back to what was working about the Endgame era in like a really literal way, and and like
I
try to remake
yeah.
as much of this stuff as possible. Like, I don't know. Um, part of it could just be that it's like some like somewhat fan service and a fun story to tell, and other I could definitely see a case where it was just like they're like, we have to pivot and give people what they want and simplify things. Who
I
knows?
don't know. The I hope that there's a I mean there won't be, but you hope that there's like a making of feature that would address those like Feige's never going to get on a video and be like, so we realized that we were really shitting the bed and decided to call Robert so that he could come, like that's
Well,
never
yeah,
going to happen.
it would be, who knows, 20 years from now, it would be fascinating to see a televised documentary thing in like a handful of parts that was like the miraculous rise of this thing and how hugely immensely popular the Marvel Cinematic Universe became. And then it like hitting this crescendo, and then it took downward, and then hitting COVID at the same time that like Eternals came out, and they had all these actors in Eternals signed to like do 6 movies or something,
Yeah.
and none of them have appeared in an MCU thing since. And pivoting back to this, and who knows what happens after this, but like, sh- you know, it, the whole like conversation around like, is this ruining movies forever? And and it's
Right.
like it's we're barely talking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe like anymore, and it's like hasn't even been 10 years since Endgame. So
Yeah.
like, no, it didn't ruin movies forever. It was just like we were having a fun time at the movies for the time. Like,
Yeah. Well, and think about this. So Iron Man came out in 2008. The MCU
yeah.
hasn't even existed for 20 years yet.
Yeah, that's
Like
wild. And the
it's not
legacy it's like had has been like nuts.
yeah, yeah. It
It's a
feels
fascinating thing.
yeah, that whole conversation feels very like old man yelling at clouds for a lot of
Yeah,
reasons.
totally. Totally.
Anyway,
All right.
I want
I'm
to hear
sure there's
you talk about your comic books,
yes. Let's get
please.
into them. First on my stack, Black Panther Intergalactic.
Is it intergalactic and planetary?
Pantherary. Intergalactic Pantherary.
Nice.
Laval, Nessie, Valenza, our creative team on this. This book has a lot to do with the fallout of the the
Imperial.
Intergalactic Imperial. That's right. The Hickman orchestrated event Imperial, wherein the Wakandans are framed for trying to orchestrate a war between the Kree and Skrull I'll avoid spoilers on this if anyone hasn't completely finished it yet, but just know the Wakandans got set up. Now we're in the fallout of all this, and the Wakandans are still a superpower in outer space, and they're building this like gateway jump point to travel through space and make like close to Earth more of an intergalactic hub. And Black Panther is now this like space emperor, not just to the nation of Wakanda, but to this like outer space region that he oversees as part of this like massive undertaking. So the people who had at one point been like dignitaries of Wakanda are now manning like massive spaceships or planet moons and things like that to like uh oversee all of the politics that are happening around this like gigantic booming industry out of vibranium being used to make all of these like high-tech space travel things. So potentially very large in scope.
Sure.
I mean, this is like we Ta-Nehisi Coates launched us on this kind of directionality for Black Panther 10 years ago now. Like whatever his run started is when I remember like us kind of starting to teeter into space and like articles about like bringing Afrofuturism into comic books and how this has always been like an interesting corner of like African American stories for a lot of these creators, and it's been interesting to see where Black Panther has gone throughout this. And one of the things that I always have a hard time finding my footing in when it comes to Black Panther is sometimes these are personal stories and he's on the run and trying to like solve some like espionage sort of thing, and then other times he's a
God King.
a god king who is the most intelligent person on earth and has like is often sometimes written with like a real like cockiness.
Yeah.
And that's always been really rough as like a Marvel reader, that you don't have a lot of heroes that are like egotistical. I mean, maybe like Reed Richards is one of them to some extent.
Namor.
And Namor certainly, who is like plays the you know the foil half the time and hero the other half. So there's that aspect, and then there's like leader of the Avengers and kind of just like a somebody who's keeping like a mid-size team together and being the anchor for everybody.
Yeah.
And those three things are just like three vastly different personality types. And it's always kind of hard for me to come back to a Black Panther thing and be like, what's the mix of cards that we're going to get for T'Challa this time? And is that flavor going to resonate with me for this story? This comic, though, all of this preamble to say, I think this comic does an interesting job of mixing or trying to distill all of these aspects of T'Challa into a unified singular version where he has that leadership and a little bit of cockiness, but he's got the like he has a moment where he has this like singular responsibility that he feels to a friend, not just the nation. So this creator, I feel anyway, has gone to some lengths to say, let's try to pull some of these threads to who T'Challa has been over the past 10, 15 years and start to wrap them around a center point and define who he is at that center point and get some grounding for this now big story that he's at the center of in outer space. Where he's going to have to be at like the center of leadership, right? Like it's not going to make sense for him to just be like on the run all the time and
right.
Yeah,
doing
like that
stuff.
Doing spy stuff. Like that's not sustainable for the position we've put this Black Panther in.
Yeah.
So all that to say, I really appreciate that piece of it. And then we've kind of got a situation wherein Black Panther is trying to tie up loose ends to do somebody a solid before he then, you know, comes back, takes the throne, brings some normalcy, and while he's away, tying up loose ends, our reveal at the end of the issue is that there is another T'Challa on the throne, and whether it's like an imposter, uh, or purposefully there so he can handle multiple things at once,
Uh-huh.
or is this some sort of LMD situation or a scroll?
Yeah.
There's so many
So many
Marvel
options.
so many Marvel options for there to be a duplicate of somebody somewhere.
Yeah.
Um, that so that'll be our first puzzle to solve is exactly
Mhm.
what's going on with the multiple T'Challas, and from there, like I'm really interested to see like where outer space Marvel kind of goes. The Imperial was a really fun story, and we've got a couple like of the side comics that are still releasing an issue or two out of it, and there was a bit of a promise the way the comic signed off that we're going to keep learning what happens with Inhumans who are role players in this. We're going to see what happens with Peter Quill, who has like a whole new role in the Marvel Intergalactic universe with this. And then obviously Black Panther being like uh, an emperor of an entire region of space now is like its own thing. So if it it quickly gets grand and confusing in a way that's difficult to digest for more casual readers. But if you're a Marvel freak like me, it's very exciting. So I'll say potentially not a super accessible first issue, while at the
Yeah.
same time feeling like they're defining T'Challa in a way that feels more grounded than I feel like I was able to grasp in like Avengers or some of the last couple Black Panther arcs that I've read. So I'm feeling good about it. But probably not for everybody.
Black Panther is one of those characters that I also struggle with a lot because
Mhm.
I always want to read the stories where he's like kind of a super spy. Like,
Yeah.
you know, somebody like steals a thing, a widget from Wakanda, and he's got to go find the guy and why it got like that's the stuff that always interested me. Um but yeah,
We are
you get the all these other like stories that I think you hit it on the head perfectly where it's like you kind of don't know what flavor of Black Panther you're going to get whenever you crack open a number one issue. So
yep.
it's good to hear that all these kind of um aspects of his personality are getting um
Yeah.
I think as you said distilled down to uh kind of a singular a presence
Yeah.
in the Marvel universe. Um, but it is kind of a bummer to hear that it's not the most accessible issue. Kind of sounds
Yeah.
like there's a lot of dependency on Imperial to
Yeah.
read this number one.
Yep. I think so. Um I'll also say too that something you said reminded me of this that we're existing in a world where it is not cool to be a king. It is
Oh,
not
sure, yeah,
cool to be a tech billionaire
sure.
or like some sort of like Elon Musk esque type genius.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not saying T'Challa is that, right? But
Sure.
I'm saying that's a part of it, and always has been a part of it, and it's what's made this character unique, is having a role as a superhero, an on-the-ground superhero, but having a higher responsibility to a nation and to a people.
Yeah.
And that dynamic is getting increasingly complex in the world we live in. And it's hard to do the just like, you know, Wakanda's the wealthiest nation in the world. And like, he's their like genius tech global billionaire without like your brain starting to make connections to other things in the world and thinking about like the responsibility we have as, you know, the power players on Earth to like make the decisions that benefit humanity. And so I don't know. It's
Well, that's
interesting.
why it's that's why
interesting
it's
inflection point. Yeah,
That's why it's fiction, Mike, is because he's a tech billionaire king who's actually a good leader. He's like a genuinely good person who.
That's the only sci-fi thing about this.
That's it.
That T'Challa has remained a good person.
A good person.
And we love him for it. It's
right.
possible. We need to ship a box of these to a couple select individuals that could learn a thing or two from a fictional billionaire. All right. That being said, let's move on to lighter fare. I read Wrestle Heist.
Yes.
From Kyle Starks. And this book was really fun. The
Did
front
he
of
write
it
it and do the art?
Yes. Let me
That's
see.
awesome.
Is anyone else's name on the cover?
I mean, that cover is definitely him.
No. Yeah, he might have. I mean, there's another colorist or something, but it looks like it's all Kyle Starks.
That's awesome.
Front of it is like a wrestling magazine, got a lot of little like highlights and doodads and titles of all the things going on. But the front of it has our star character, who is a heel in the world of this, in like a WWE kind of company. And he's been like the solid professional who's kept things going and keeps everybody on their marks in matches. The guy who runs the thing is never quite giving him the opportunity to, you know, win a belt or turn good or get the opportunities that he needs to take his career to the next level. And he says, I'm out of here. And is fighting his last match and doing a nice farewell to the fans before he goes and joins another wrestling company. Well, the guy who owns this WWE doesn't take too kindly to his most popular heel jumping ship and going to his competition. And so he tells one of the final guys wrestling him in his farewell match to do him in, and has an injury, is told he can never fight again, and eventually heals but holds this grudge and can no longer fight professionally. And then there's some great like industry stuff where he's like on the con circuit with another guy, just like signing autographs and doing all these things that like we know these people actually do. And they're telling like, you get all these great interspersed stories about, oh, that guy was so great. And here's like some fun anecdotes about these like fake wrestlers in this world. And then here's like, oh, it turns out this guy was a real asshole. And they shoot the shit with fans. And it's just like a great glimpse into this kind of like con life and anecdotes about all the people that came up in the game with them. But he eventually finds this other wrestler who was more or less wronged by this guy. And they say, hey, do we have an opportunity to take this guy for all he's worth by like running a heist on his next big, you know, uh what's one of like the big SmackDown championship or
WrestleMania.
the next big WrestleMania. They're gonna like rob WrestleMania, and
I love that.
and so they start to construct this heist out of it, and so it's just like super lighthearted, and I mean obviously like a tragic story with a lot of heart, and you're really like feeling for this guy, even though the cover of this is very cartoony, and it's like fun, silly Kyle Stark's art. The tone of it like really hits you in the heart and sets up like a really fun potential story of like a little bit of light revenge for these guys to set things right for what was taken from them. And I'm looking forward to reading the rest of it for sure. I'll say that like there's parts of it in this that if you're a wrestling fan that you'll love. And I never really grew up watching wrestling. And I think because of that I've missed the boat some on like totally understanding the fandom of it. But there's so many pieces of it, like I mentioned, like the con circuit and just like the stories they're BSing with back and forth. I think people will get such a kick out of the world building and the fun stories that just like feel very honest. In a way that's just gotta like really feel like what it's like to like meet these people or to like see them on stage playing a character and then like have moments with them as fans if you've been able to. Like it felt very honest and genuine to that experience. So I loved that about it.
That is the brilliant thing about Kyle Starks, is that he is a master of both humor and I don't know what the drama.
Sure.
Where he kind of lures you in with the good-hearted nature stuff, and then you come out the other end like having learned and felt something.
Right. Totally.
And that's a really beautiful thing.
Yep.
This book sounds a lot like something we talked about on our Patreon episode. Another heist that's sort of like off kilter. One of my favorite heist movies is Logan Lucky, where hillbillies rob the Talladega Raceway. Kind of sounds like the same sort of beast, but this is WrestleMania instead of the racing thing. So this sounds right up my alley.
Have you ever watched that show It's Florida Man?
No.
Okay. So this is a show on HBO that is it's kind of like a drunk history wherein they're retelling like stories about like people in Florida who've been arrested. There was like a blog that got famous that was like culled all the headlines that were like a Florida man, blank, 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 blank.
Yeah.
Like, like all these stories are crazy. Like this could only happen in Florida with all these like wackadoos. And so they track down all these crazy stories that involve like a Florida man. And then they reenact them as that person's telling the story that like got them arrested or got their name in the paper for whatever crazy reason. And there was a great one recently wherein a couple of guys are trying to rob the vault of a boat casino, and like a riverboat casino. And their plan is to just like set the boat loose, like undock it and just like let it ride once they've like taken out like the all the money or whatever they can get out of it. And there's a cop there who's just like, all these great heist movies where everything is like so planned out. He's just like, it is never like that. The people who think they can rob a casino like are pivoting on the plan night of, like can't get their shit straight. Like people are dropping in and out. They're leaving the most like heinous trail of evidence, and you get to see some of their thing unfold in a really entertaining way, or like the way they thought they were going to get into the vault is just like laughable, that they thought like one blowtorch was like going to get them into this like 12-inch thick steel wall.
We've got 5 minutes to get into the vault.
Yeah, exactly right. It's like an hour and a half later.
Yeah.
You're just like there sweating and like have just like burnt a door.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for regaling us with your issues, Mike D.
Of course. I was going to say, you go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to start to sign us off and say it's a holiday week. We'll probably release this one before the holidays, so we want to wish you a safe and happy break. If you're able to take one towards the end of the year, you earned it. If you're not taking any extra days off, take them soon. Take them in January or February. Don't forget to take your paid time off, friends.
That's right. Take your PTO. You earned it. It's yours. I don't know that we'll be back in 2 weeks either, because Christmas and then New Year's are both on Thursdays when we traditionally record. Right. But
we've got an Exquisite Corpse's Podsquisite Corpse Cast episode.
That's right.
That'll come out later this week. I might drop that on. I might schedule that for Christmas.
Okay.
And then you and I just recorded a Patreon episode that's going to come out next Monday, where we talked about a handful of movies, our favorite movies of the last 20 years, and what's that comic?
Final Boss.
Final Boss. We talked about Final Boss and the kind of sea change in creators kind of like doing more with their books and launching with like merchandise and ideas for games and all this stuff surrounding new independent books and independent ownership. So that was a fun conversation. So that'll be out in a week or so, and
maybe we'll
until
get
next
together.
time. Yeah, we'll try to get together for another episode or two, but we've got a couple to space out for you, especially if you're on the Patreon.
Tide you over. Yeah.
Yep.
I guess otherwise we'll see you all in the next year. Have a good holiday. Be safe. And bag and boredom.
Bag and boredom.
Bye.
Bye. First Issue Club podcast is brought to you by Boulevard Brewing Company, the people responsible for our favorite drinks, the Space Camper Cosmic IPA family of beers. Our show is edited and produced by our hosts Mike DeStacy, Greg Lichtag, and Andy Vargas. You can find us on social media at First Issue Club, and you can join the supporters who keep our humble podcast going on our Patreon at patreon.com/firstissueclub.